The jungle at night was alive with whispers. Strange sounds moved through the tall trees, glowing insects drifted like small stars in the dark air. The ground was damp and the smell of wet leaves mixed with the smoke of a small fire. Beside that fire sat a human. His name was Daniel. He was alone in the alien world. His camp was simple, only a sleeping bag, a few tools, and a pot balanced on stones above the flame. Daniel's eyes were heavy with sleep. He had worked all day searching for clean water and firewood. Now he wanted only a little rest, but the jungle had other plans. From the shadows, something watched him. Two eyes glowed faint green, slowly moving between the trees. It was a predator of this planet, a beast that hunters feared and warriors respected. It had 4 long legs with claws sharp enough to cut through bone. Its body was covered in black fur that blended into the night. Its teeth were like blades. The predator moved without sound, its steps so light that even dry leaves did not break. Its breathing was slow, patient, controlled. This was not the first time it stalked prey. It had hunted many creatures in this jungle, but tonight it wanted something rare, something it had never tasted before, a human. Daniel did not stir. He sat with his back against a tree, half awake, half dreaming. The firelight danced on his face. The predator crept closer. Only 10 steps away now. Its muscles tightened, its mouth opened just slightly, ready to strike. Then something unexpected happened. Daniel opened his eyes and yawned. He stretched his arms like a man waking from a nap. He turned his head slowly toward the glowing eyes, but instead of fear, instead of panic, he spoke in a calm and almost lazy voice. "Do you want breakfast?" The predator froze, its claws still in the air. Confusion hit its mind. Prey should scream, prey should run, prey should beg for life. But this human sat still, not afraid, not moving to fight, only asking a question. Daniel rubbed his eyes, his hair messy from sleep. He reached to the pot above the fire. He stirred it with a stick. The smell of cooked grain spread into the air. "It is not much," he muttered, "but I can share." The predator blinked. It tilted its head like it could not understand. Its ears twitched, its tail flicked with impatience. This was wrong, all wrong. Daniel looked at it carefully. He did not see only a monster. He saw hunger. He saw a creature tired of endless hunting. He had learned long ago that fear does not save you in wild places. Calmness does. "Come closer if you want," he said softly, but no sudden moves. The predator growled low and deep, but it did not attack. Its eyes stayed fixed on the human. Why was this prey different? Why did its heart not race? Why did its hands not shake? Daniel leaned back again as if the danger meant nothing. He yawned once more and whispered, "You look more tired than I am." The jungle held its breath. Even the insects seemed to stop buzzing. The fire cracked softly. Smoke drifted into the cold air. The predator moved one step closer, its huge body sliding out of the shadows. Now Daniel could see its teeth shining in the firelight. He did not move. His breathing stayed slow. He reached into his bag and pulled a small piece of dried meat. He tossed it gently toward the ground, not far from the beast. The piece landed with a soft thud. The predator's eyes flicked down, then back to the human. Its instincts fought. Should it kill or should it eat? Daniel smiled slightly. "It is your choice," he said. "But I promise breakfast tastes better than a fight." For a long moment, nothing happened. The beast stood like a statue. Then slowly, very slowly, it lowered its head and sniffed the dried meat. Its tongue flicked, tasting too. He salt. With one quick bite, it swallowed. Daniel did not cheer, did not clap. He only nodded. "Good," he whispered. "Now sit if you want more." The predator's body trembled with something new, not anger, not hunger, but confusion mixed with respect. It lowered itself halfway, its glowing eyes never leaving the human's face. In the distance, another sound echoed, the howl of a second predator. Far away but approaching, the jungle shifted again. Danger doubled. Daniel did not look afraid. He stirred the pot once more, his voice calm. "Looks like you will have company," he said. "I better make more breakfast." The first predator blinked again, its ears twitched to the howl, its claws flexed, but still it did not attack. It stayed near the fire, near the human, as if part of it did not want to leave. The night was no longer ordinary. It was the beginning of something strange, something powerful, a bond that should never have been possible. The jungle air was heavy, the fire cracked softly, and Daniel sat calm while the predator crouched near him, its glowing eyes fixed on the strange human who had offered food instead of fear. This was not how the hunt was supposed to end. The predator's instincts screamed that the human was weak flesh waiting to be torn apart, but nothing about this night made sense. Prey was never this calm. Prey never spoke like this. Prey never invited death to sit by the fire. Daniel leaned forward, his face lit by orange flame, his hands steady as he pulled another piece of dried meat from his bag. He placed it slowly on the ground, his voice steady. "You can eat this too." The predator growled, its breath hot, its teeth glinting in the firelight. It stepped closer, its claws sank into the earth. One strike could end the human's life. One bite could silence him forever. Yet Daniel showed no fear, his eyes almost gentle. The beast lowered its head, sniffed the offering, and took it with a quick snap of jaws. Its tail flicked once, then it looked back at the man, confused again. Daniel yawned, just a half smile. "Not bad, right?" he whispered, "but wait until you taste real breakfast." The predator tilted its head as if trying to understand his words. Its ears twitched at the sound of the human's calm tone. This was not prey. This was something else, something dangerous maybe, or something untouchable. In the distance, another howl echoed across the jungle, this time closer. The predator's ears shot up, its muscles tensed, its pack was moving, drawn by the scent of fire, food, and maybe blood. Daniel stirred the pot. The smell of cooked grain filled the camp. His eyes flicked toward the dark trees where more eyes now began to glow faintly. The silence of the jungle broke. Heavy paws crushed leaves. More predators were coming. But Daniel did not stand. He did not draw a weapon. He only adjusted the pot and whispered almost to himself, "More guests for breakfast." The first predator, the one who had already tasted his offering, did not move against him. Instead, it growled low toward the trees, warning its pack. Its body stood between Daniel and the shadows. Daniel noticed, his eyes narrowed slightly. This beast was not guarding food, it was guarding him. 3 more predators slipped out from the shadows, larger, heavier, their eyes glowing like fireflies. They circled, their breath steaming in the cold air. Their tails whipped the ground with impatience. Daniel looked at them one by one, then back at the first predator. "Friends of yours," he said softly, his voice never shaking, "or challengers." The first predator growled louder, its back arched, its claws digging deep into the earth. The pack paused, surprised by the defiance. Never before had one of their own protected prey. Daniel watched the strange dance, his heartbeat steady but his mind sharp. He knew one wrong move could end him. Still, he poured more grain into the pot. The smell spreading. Stronger. He tossed another piece of dried meat forward closer to the pack. The biggest predator sniffed, then snarled, its teeth flashing in the firelight, but it did not rush. Its eyes studied the human, the fire, and the smaller predator already standing guard. The air trembled with tension. Claws scraped the ground, tails lashed, and in the middle of it all, Daniel leaned back against the tree and whispered with a tired sigh, "If you want to fight, fight. But I warn you, you will regret it." The pack hesitated, fear flickered in their eyes for a second. How could prey sound like a hunter? The first predator snapped its jaws and growled fiercely, pushing itself between the pack and the human. It was making a choice. Daniel narrowed his eyes. He reached into his pocket and pulled out something small, a shiny metal lighter. He flicked it. The flame danced bright, stronger than the fire at his feet. The predator's eyes widened. Their bodies stiffened. They knew fire. They feared fire. Daniel spoke slowly. "You think you own the night, but fire belongs to us." He held the flame steady, his face calm, his voice steady. "Remember that." The pack hissed and stepped back, their growls mixed with uncertainty. Even the biggest one lowered its head slightly. Daniel closed the lighter and tossed another piece of dried meat toward them. "Eat if you are hungry," he said, "but fight me and you will burn." For a long, tense moment, silence stretched. The predators stared, their claws twitching, their teeth glinting, but none moved forward. The first predator lowered itself beside Daniel's fire, almost in loyalty. The others growled but did not attack. They stepped back slowly, their eyes glowing like ghosts as they faded into the jungle. Daniel leaned back, his voice soft, almost like a whisper meant only for the beast beside him. "You made your choice tonight," he said, "and maybe it saved both of us." The predator's tail flicked once, its wing eyes locked on him, not as an enemy but as something closer to an ally. But the jungle was wide, the night was long, and Daniel knew this was only the beginning of something much larger, because predators never protect prey unless prey is no longer prey at all. The jungle shifted from night to dawn, pale light crept through the thick leaves, mist rolled across the ground, and the fire still glowed weakly at Daniel's camp. The predator that had once crept forward to kill him now sat close, its huge body low to the ground, its eyes still glowing faint green, its muscles ready, yet it did not strike. Daniel stirred the pot of grain above the coals. The smell drifted far through the damp air. He knew other creatures would soon catch the scent, but he did not rush, his movements calm, careful, steady. He looked at the beast beside him and smiled faintly. "You're still here," he said. "That means you are curious, not just hungry." The predator tilted its head, its breath came in heavy clouds. It had never seen prey act like this, never felt its hunger confused by something else, a strange pull that kept it near the fire. The human was weak in size, weak in claws, weak in teeth, yet something around him carried strength, an invisible force. Daniel tossed a piece of dried fruit toward the creature. It sniffed, then swallowed, its tongue flicking quickly. It was not only meat that fed hunger, there was more here, more taste, more warmth. Daniel whispered, "Food shared is food that saves lives." The beast gave a low rumble, not a growl of attack but a sound closer to thought. It sat lower, watching him with burning eyes. The jungle answered with new sounds, branches snapped in the distance, not predators this time but something different, smaller, faster. The rustle of many feet moving through the underbrush. Daniel's hand went to his pack. His fingers brushed a knife handle, but he did not draw it. Instead, he stirred the pot again, letting the steam rise stronger. 3 smaller creatures broke into the clearing, alien scavengers, their bodies thin, their jaws sharp, their eyes black as stone. They hissed when they saw the human, their teeth clicking together. Daniel muttered, "So breakfast draws more than guests." The predator beside him snapped its jaws suddenly, a thunderous sound. The scavengers froze, their hiss cut short. Their eyes turned toward the larger beast, fear flickered in their posture. Daniel watched carefully. He did not move. He let the predator stand between him and the scavengers. The beast roared, a deep and terrible sound that shook the air. The scavengers scattered, vanishing into the trees as quickly as they came. Daniel breathed out, his shoulders easing slightly. He nodded. "You protected me," he whispered, "and you didn't even ask why." The predator lowered itself again, as if it understood. Its chest rose and fell with slow breaths. Its tail curled around its body. Daniel poured the thick grain into 2 portions, one in a small metal plate, the other kept in the pot. He slid the plate across the ground toward the predator. "Try it," he said. "It won't kill you." The beast sniffed, then licked, then ate, slow at first, then faster, its sharp teeth crunching the warm food, its throat swallowing. When it finished, it looked at him again, eyes burning brighter. Daniel smiled faintly. "See, breakfast is better than blood." The sky grew lighter, the mist thinned, but tension stayed heavy. Daniel knew the jungle was not finished with him. He had survived one night, but more challenges would come. The predator seemed restless. It lifted its head, ears twitching, nose sniffing the wind. Something was near again, something larger, heavier, dangerous. Daniel tightened his grip on the pot, his eyes sharp. "Another guest," he whispered. From the shadows, a massive shape emerged, far bigger than the first. Predator, its body scarred, its fur torn in places, its fangs long as knives. This was an elder of the pack, a leader. The first predator stiffened, its body tense, its eyes lowered slightly in respect, but it did not move away from the human. Daniel studied the elder calmly, his voice low. "So you are the real master of this place." The elder predator growled, its deep chest vibrating the ground, its eyes locked on Daniel, then on the fire, then on the smaller predator at his side. It stepped forward slowly, every muscle rippling with power, every step heavy with authority. The younger predator growled back, louder than before, standing its ground in front of Daniel. The 2 beasts faced each other, teeth bared, eyes locked, a fight ready to explode. Daniel raised his hand gently, his voice calm. "No fight," he said. "Breakfast, not battle." The elder's ears flicked, its eyes narrowed. Confusion struck again. The human's voice carried no fear, only command. Daniel scooped grain from the pot and threw it onto the ground between them, steam rising from the hot food, the smell spreading. The elder lowered its head, sniffed, and to Daniel's shock, it ate. One slow bite, one long chew, then silence. The younger predator stepped back, its growl fading, its eyes wide with something like respect. Daniel looked at both of them, his voice steady. "You see, I am not your enemy. I am the fire in the night, the hand that feeds, and if you wish, I can be more." The jungle seemed to fall silent again, the mist curling around them, two predators sitting near one human, not as killers, but as strange companions. Yet Daniel knew this peace was thin as glass. One wrong move could shatter it, one wrong word could turn him into meat. Still, he smiled faintly, stirring the pot again. "Breakfast," he said softly, "always makes allies." And deep in the jungle, more glowing eyes began to gather, watching the fire, waiting, deciding if the legend of humans would begin tonight. The jungle was no longer quiet, the soft light of dawn mixed with heavy growls, and glowing eyes surrounded the campfire. Daniel sat with his back straight, the pot of food beside him, while two predators stood close, one young and loyal, one old and scarred. But more shapes moved in the shadows, their claws scraping soil, their breath heavy. The pack was gathering. Daniel's heart beat steady, not wild, not panicked, his mind sharp. He knew he had crossed a line. Predators were no longer only hunters, they were judges, deciding if he was prey or something more. The younger beast, the one that had eaten first, kept low near him, its body tense, its ears flat, its growl warning the others. The elder predator, bigger and stronger, stepped forward, its eyes like burning fire, its scars proof of many victories. It lowered its head close to Daniel, its hot breath spilling over him. Daniel did not move. He met the eyes of the elder, his own calm, almost daring. The elder suddenly roared, the sound shook leaves from trees. A challenge, not to the pack, but to the human. Daniel's body tensed. He stood, his hands free, no blade drawn, no gun raised, only his eyes and his will. He whispered softly, "If you want to fight, then you will learn what humans are." The younger predator snarled, leaping between them, but the elder struck with claws, the ground split, dirt flew, the younger beast stumbled, blood marked its shoulder. Daniel grabbed the iron pot handle, swung it upward with speed. The hot steam burst into the elder's face. The beast recoiled with a thunderous growl, its head shaking, its eyes burning with rage. The pack growled louder, claws scratching, but none moved yet, their eyes fixed on the impossible scene. A human standing, fire steaming, refusing to run. Daniel raised the pot again, his voice sharp. "You fear nothing but fire, and fire is mine," the elder lung. Ed again, teeth flashing like blades. Daniel shifted sideways, swinging the pot. The iron struck against fangs with a loud crack. Sparks flew. The predator's roar echoed through the jungle. Birds exploded from trees. The earth itself seemed to shiver, but Daniel did not fall. He held his ground, his breath steady, his arms strong. The elder lowered itself, circling him, its muscles coiled like steel, its tail whipping. The younger predator stood limping but growling at its leader, unwilling to abandon the human. Daniel's eyes flicked between them. He knew he could not win in raw strength, but he had something else, something older than claws, older than fangs. He lifted the pot and threw it into the fire. The flames exploded higher, sparks shot into the air, smoke swirled like a storm. The pack recoiled, growls turning into uneasy hisses, their eyes wide. Daniel stepped closer to the fire, the flames painting his face in orange light. "You live by instinct," he whispered, his voice carrying across the clearing. "But humans live by will." The elder froze, its body low, its eyes uncertain. It had never faced prey that controlled fire like a weapon. It had never faced prey that stood unbroken. It snarled again, but this time not in victory, this time in frustration. The younger predator limped closer to Daniel, lowering itself beside him, its body trembling, but its head raised high. The gesture was clear. It had chosen him. The pack stirred, tails lashing, some stepping back, others lowering their heads, instinct fighting instinct. Daniel's voice cut through the growls, calm but sharp. You can kill me, yes, but if you do, you lose fire, you lose food, you lose the chance to follow something greater than hunger. His hand gestured to the flames, to the pot's smoke, to the heat that spread through the misty morning. The elder beast studied him, its eyes narrowed, its claws scraping deep marks in the dirt. Then it lunged again, one final strike to test. Daniel moved with sudden speed, snatching a burning branch from the fire, swinging it in a wide arc. The flames roared. The branch struck the ground before the elder's claws. Fire kissed its skin, and the predator roared in pain, leaping back. The pack shrieked in shock, their bodies shifting, their eyes flashing. Never had a human struck with fire in such bold defiance. The elder lowered itself again, not in defeat but in recognition. Its head dipped slightly, its growl softer now. Daniel stood tall, the burning branch in his hand, his chest rising with strong breath, his eyes locked on the beast. Silence spread, the jungle paused, the pack waited, and then the elder slowly stepped back, lowering its head once more, this time deeper. The younger predator mirrored the motion, and one by one, glowing eyes in the trees dipped low, predators submitting, not fully, but enough. Daniel dropped the burning branch back into the fire. The flames hissed. He exhaled slowly, his body shaking only now that it was over. He whispered to the younger predator, "You see, breakfast comes after respect." The beast blinked at him, its tail flicked once, the fire crackled again, the pack surrounded but not attacking. For the first time, Daniel realized this was no longer about food, it was about survival, leadership, and something even greater, trust. But trust in a jungle of predators was fragile, and he knew the clash of instincts was not the end, only the beginning of a new war of wills. The fire had burned low, smoke curling into the pale morning air. Daniel stood with ash on his hands, the scent of burned wood in his hair. Around him the clearing was alive with silence. The pack of predators no longer pressed forward, no longer circling, their glowing eyes lowered, their bodies tense but not attacking. The elder predator, scarred and massive, stood a short distance away, its chest, it rising and falling with slow, heavy breaths, its eyes fixed on the human who had refused to die. Daniel's grip loosened on the burned branch. His arm trembled slightly, but his eyes never showed fear. Instead, he looked at the beast with steady calm, the way a leader looks at followers. The younger predator stayed near him, its body crouched low, blood still staining its shoulder from the elder's strike. Yet it did not retreat. It stayed at his side, a choice made clear. The elder finally lowered itself, pressing claws into the earth, head bowing just slightly, not surrender but respect. The pack behind it shifted uneasily. Some growled soft, others copied the motion, instinct bending against logic. Daniel exhaled slowly, his chest rising, his voice barely above a whisper. So even predators know when strength is more than teeth. The jungle around them stirred again. Far away cries echoed, the call of other creatures watching, listening. The firelight had carried the sound of the clash into the deep woods, and now more eyes burned in the distance. Not just predators but other alien beasts, Daniel understood. This night had become legend for more than just one pack. He turned back to the fire, his movements calm, deliberate. He stirred the pot again, the smell of grain filling the morning, the smoke rising high. "You came to kill," he said softly, "but now you sit for breakfast." The younger predator licked its wounded shoulder. The elder watched carefully, the pack restless but waiting. Daniel scooped some of the thick food, placing it on the ground again, closer to the scarred elder. The beast sniffed once, then leaned down, its tongue rough against the dirt as it swallowed the warm meal. The pack stirred in confusion, low growls mixed with disbelief, the leader of their kind accepting food from a human, not prey, not enemy, but something impossible. Daniel's voice stayed even. "Food is power too," he whispered. "It is not always the claw that wins." The elder growled low, not a warning but something deeper, like a note of agreement. A rumble that carried through the ground. The younger predator answered with its own softer growl, almost a harmony. Daniel felt the vibration in his chest, as if the jungle itself recognized the shift. Then a sound broke the moment, not a roar, not a growl, but the faint crack of branches, the steady rhythm of movement. Daniel's eyes sharpened because this sound was not of beasts but of boots. From the mist emerged figures tall and armored, aliens in metal suits with glowing visors, their rifles raised. The predators tensed, teeth bared, growls bursting from every throat. The firelight glinted off fangs, the pack ready to leap. Daniel raised his hand slowly, palm out, his voice sharp. "Stay," he said, not to the soldiers, but to the predators. His command cut through the growls, and to his shock, they hesitated. The alien soldiers froze at the edge of the clearing. Their leader's voice rang through a helmet speaker, cold and metallic. "Step away from the beasts, human. You will die if you stay there." Daniel looked at them, calm, his face lit by the fire, the younger predator growling low beside him, the elder standing tall just behind. His voice carried clear. "I think you're too late for that." The soldiers shifted, their rifles aimed at the predators, fingers ready. The jungle seemed to hold its breath. The elder predator roared, a deep sound that shook the air. The soldiers stepped back, their visors flickering with readings. Their leader barked, "Impossible, they don't submit, not to anyone." Daniel straightened, his shoulders strong, his eyes locked on the alien commander. "Maybe not to you," he said, "but they know me now." He glanced at the elder beast, the younger one, the pack circling with eyes like fire. "They respect me," he whispered, "and that respect is stronger than your weapons." The soldiers murmured through their comms, disbelief heavy in their voices. One whispered, "It cannot be, a human commanding predators." Daniel's jaw tightened, his voice steady. "Not commanding," he said, "earning." The elder predator stepped closer, its massive frame casting a shadow across Daniel. The soldiers lifted rifles higher, tension snapping like glass. Daniel raised his hand, his voice sharp. "No," he said, "you fire, they strike, and no one survives. But if you lower your weapons, maybe today ends with breakfast, not blood." The alien commander hesitated, the weight of the moment heavy, the glowing eyes of a dozen predators burning in the mist, their growls vibrating the air. Daniel stood between them all, a human who had turned a hunt into an alliance. The commander finally lowered his weapon slightly, his voice tense. "You are not prey, human. You are something else." Daniel's lips curved faintly, his voice calm. "Now you understand." The predators stayed crouched. The fire crackled. The jungle stirred. But no battle began. Instead, a fragile balance. Daniel looked back at the elder, nodding once, his whisper soft. "Respect is the only bond that lasts." But deep inside, he knew respect could shatter with one wrong move, and the galaxy would not stay blind to this forever. The sun climbed higher, light cutting through the thick trees, the mist slowly lifting from the ground, yet the clearing remained heavy with silence. Daniel stood tall, the fire burning low beside him, the pot now nearly empty. Predators crouched in a wide circle, their glowing eyes watching his every move. Behind them, the alien soldiers still held their rifles, but hesitation had broken their formation, their confidence shaken by what they saw. The elder predator stepped closer, scarred body looming, its breath hot in the air, its head lowered not to kill, but to stand beside the human. The younger predator stayed near Daniel's side, its bloodied shoulder brushing his leg, tail curled low, eyes sharp and loyal. The rest of the pack shifted uneasily, caught between instinct and the impossible truth before them. Daniel's voice was calm, sharp as flint. "You came to hunt me, and I gave you food. You came to test me, and I gave you fire. Now you came with your pack, and still I stand." He let his gaze sweep over the beasts, his words steady. "I am not prey, not to you, not to anyone." The elder growled low, not in challenge but in agreement. Its massive head dipped once, slow and deliberate, a gesture of respect. The soldiers gasped. Their commander's voice cracked through his helmet speaker. "This cannot be. Predators bow to no one." Daniel turned his head slightly, his tone flat. "Maybe not before, but today the jungle has a new story." The pack stirred, a ripple of movement. Some lowered their heads with the elder, others still resisted, growling, pacing, tails slashing the dirt, instinct battling against change. The younger predator snarled once, sharp and fierce, its body trembling but unyielding, as if warning its kin. Daniel bent down, placed his hand lightly against its shoulder. The beast stilled, its breathing slowed, its growl softened. The soldiers whispered among themselves, one muttered, He touches it like it is his own beast. Another answered, no, it is worse. The beast allows it. Their rifles trembled, fear now stronger than duty. Daniel spoke again, his voice low but strong. You think strength is claw and fang, but true strength is control, patience, trust, and will. That is why you fear humans, even if you don't say it. His eyes locked with the alien commander. We tame what you run from. We walk where you will not, and even your predators learn respect. The jungle suddenly echoed with more howls, not near, but far, waves of sound rolling through the trees, dozens, maybe hundreds. The pack in the clearing lifted their heads, ears twitching. The Ear's eyes narrowed. It turned to the sound and then back to Daniel. It was clear the rest of the jungle had heard the call, and soon more predators would arrive. Daniel tightened his jaw, his hand on the younger predator's back, his other hand gripping the burned branch he had used as a weapon, his voice steady. They come to see if this is true. They come to test me. The commander stepped forward, visor glowing red. If more of them arrive, you will be torn apart. We should end this now before it spreads. Daniel turned his gaze sharp as steel. You fire your rifles, you die. You already saw what one pack can do. What happens when 10 arrive? The commander froze, the truth heavy. The soldiers glanced nervously at one another, none eager to test the odds. The elder predator roared once, loud and commanding. The sound carried deep into the forest. It was not a roar of challenge, but a signal, a claim. The younger beast echoed the sound, smaller but sharp. The jungle shook with replies, distant but clear. Daniel felt the ground tremble under his boots. More predators were moving closer, drawn to the clearing, drawn to the fire, drawn to him, he whispered under his breath. So this is how legends begin. The soldiers backed away, fear in their steps. The commander muttered through his speaker. If this spreads, if more predators follow you, then the balance of this world is broken. Daniel's eyes flicked toward him, his tone sharp. Not broken, changed, and you cannot stop it. The mist thinned further, shapes appeared between trees, more glowing eyes, more hulking bodies, predators of every size and age. The pack around Daniel shifted, uneasy, but the elder stood tall, unyielding, its position clear. Daniel looked at them all, his voice calm but powerful. If you came for blood, then strike now. But if you came for truth, then learn fire burns, food feeds, rest, neck binds, and humans endure. The clearing filled with low growls, a chorus of power, claws raked the dirt, tails lashed, the air heavy with tension. And yet, none attacked, the predators only circled, watching, listening. The elder lowered its head once more, deeper this time. The younger pressed close to Daniel's leg, and the rest, slowly, uncertainly, began to mirror them. The soldiers whispered in disbelief. He's not fighting them, he's leading them. Daniel stood in the center, the fire at his back, his voice steady. This is not the end, this is the start. And deep in the jungle, as the sun finally broke through the canopy, the legend spread. A human had sat among predators and lived. A human had turned hunters into followers. And the galaxy would soon learn, no chain was stronger than the bond that had been forged here. The sun broke through the thick canopy, golden rays falling into the clearing. The fire crackled low, smoke rising like a signal to the sky. Daniel stood in the center, his clothes stained with ash and sweat, his eyes sharp, his posture unbroken. The predators circled him, dozens of glowing eyes fixed on the human who had changed everything. The elder predator, scarred and massive, lowered its head once more, a deep rumble vibrating through its chest. Not anger, not hunger, but recognition. The younger predator pressed close to Daniel's leg, its body wounded yet loyal, its eyes burning with something that looked almost like pride. All around them, more predators appeared from the trees, shapes moving like shadows, their heavy steps shaking the ground. One pack had become many, the jungle alive with their presence. The soldiers who had come to kill or capture Daniel now stepped back in fear, their rifles shaking, their commander's voice trembling through his helmet. This is impossible. Daniel looked at them calmly, his voice steady. Impossible yesterday, not today. The commander pointed at him, his voice sharp with fear. If the galaxy hears of this, if others believe it, humans will no longer be seen as weak. You will become a threat. Daniel's lips curved faintly, his tone low. We already were. You just refused to see it. The elder predator roared suddenly. The sound thundered through the forest. Every beast lifted its head and answered, a chorus of growls and howls that shook the sky. Birds fled in storms. The ground trembled. Even the soldiers dropped to their knees, their visors flickering with static from the vibration. Daniel stood unshaken, the firelight flickering in his eyes. He whispered to himself, "So this is what respect sounds like." The pack pressed closer, not to attack but to stand with him, their bodies forming a circle of living shields, their growls echoing like drums of war. The commander staggered back, his voice frantic. This is no longer one man in a jungle. This is a weapon, a power no empire can control. Daniel turned his gaze on him, sharp as steel. "Not a weapon," he said, "a bond." The words carried heavy. The elder beast lowered its head deeper, and the pack mirrored the gesture, predators of death bowing not in defeat but in unity. The soldiers could no longer deny it. One whispered, "He has tamed the untamable." Another muttered, "No, he has joined them." The clearing grew brighter with sunlight, but the shadow of legend was already born. Aliens across this world would whisper of this day, a day when a human sat among predators and lived, when predators followed instead of killed, when the jungle itself bent to fire and will. Daniel looked at the commander one last time, his voice cold but calm. "Tell your leaders, tell your council, tell your empire. Humans do not bow, not to beasts, not to empires, not to fear." The commander stared back, frozen, unable to speak. His men retreat. Ting step by step into the trees, rifles lowered, hearts broken. The predators did not chase. They only stood beside Daniel, their heads raised, their chests rumbling with the sound of unity. "Daniel,